Hey guys, it's Hannah Hearts Book 6, and today I'm going to do the first part of my June wrap-up. I'm only going to talk about one book, and this book is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. And this book was interesting. I will say that I talked about this in my July TBR video because I was currently reading it at the time, and I ended up liking it a bit more. And the ending did save this book for me. I was originally aiming it for 3 stars, and I gave this book 3.5 stars. I was gonna give it a 4 star, but I really thought about it, and I just don't think it was good enough to be a 4 star. I know you're not supposed to really compare authors' books, but Simon was such a clear 5, and Upside of Unrequited was such a clear 4 that I didn't feel that giving this 4 would be appropriate because I gave Upside of Unrequited 4, and I really related to Molly and Upside, and I really liked the relationship and was really into the relationship in Upside, whereas in this one I just was not sold with the romance. And I think I've decided that I think I would have liked this book a whole lot more if this was not a sequel to Simon. And I say that because I had a lot of preconceived notions about Leah and her love interest, and none of those preconceived notions led to the relationship that happens in this book. Like, there was nothing leading up to it. Everything just seemed so out of the blue and random. And I was watching The Naughty Librarian, Amanda, and she said that it was just all too convenient. And I totally see that. I thought that this relationship was just so convenient, and honestly, I felt like the love interest was kind of like, it didn't feel like she was actually into Leah. It felt like she was kind of manipulating her. I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but by the end, I was sold on it, but also the ending doesn't wrap up a lot of things. It kind of just ends, but I really did like some parts of it. There were some funny parts. The part where they go to dinner before prom is hilarious because Garrett, one of the characters in this book, picks the restaurant, and it's a completely different restaurant than it's supposed to be, and that was hilarious. I literally laughed out loud. And there were parts in this book that I really liked, and also I do have an unpopular opinion. A lot of people were saying that the relationship with Leah and her mom's boyfriend wasn't really fleshed out, and while I can see where people think that, I personally disagree. I thought that the way that it wrapped up with her mom's boyfriend was really natural, and that's one of the things that felt natural throughout this book. Leah and her mom's relationship felt natural, and because of Leah's personality, she's stubborn. She's wants everything to be perfect. She doesn't want to try something if she's not going to succeed at it. And there were some things that she grew up on, and a lot of people also were saying that she has no character development, and I really don't think that at all. I just don't think it's realistic for her to completely change her personality in 6 months, which is where this book, or like 3 or 4 months. It just doesn't make sense for her to completely be like, oh, I'm stubborn, I don't want to do anything that I'm not going to succeed at, to being like, oh yeah, I'm so confident, I'm the greatest person ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not natural people progression. Like, you're not going to change drastically over 4 months, which is what the timeline of this book. So there were things that I did like, and again, going back with her mom, there was one part in this book that I really liked, and her mom says the phrase, embrace the suck. And she's talking about how you need to embrace the sucky parts of life, because not everything is going to be peaches and cream. Like, you're not gonna be good at everything, and sometimes you just have to put yourself out there and embrace the suck, so later you can enjoy the good things in life. So I really did like that sentiment, And I think overall, Leah and her mom's relationship was my favorite part of this book. And lastly, I really liked how there was a friend of Leah's who said a comment out of anger, and Leah totally called her out on it. And I really liked that. And I liked how she wasn't willing to let this person slide by in something that they said that was hurtful to somebody that she cared about. And I thought that that was really a great character trait for sticking up for your friends, but also because I remember the character that she defends later says, like, thanks for sticking up for me. And she said, no, I'm just sticking up for decency. And I totally loved that line. And for that reason, there were some parts of this book that I liked. The relationship was not one of them, but a lot of other things I really did like. Simon and Blue, their points in this book are so cute. And just like the discussion of like long distance relationships and leaving high school and how life is going to be changed. And I've been talking about this book for 10 minutes, but 3.5 stars, really liked it. And yeah. The first book I read is The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw. This book is set in Sparrow, Oregon, where 2 centuries ago, 3 sisters, the Swan sisters, were assumed to be witches and sentenced to death. Their death, ever since then, every summer solstice, the sisters seek revenge on Sparrow. The witches sing in the ocean and beckon girls so that they can steal their bodies. And once they steal their bodies, they commit murder. And the way they commit murder is by drowning, because that is how their lives ended. This story follows 17-year-old Penny Talbot, who is very afraid of her body being stolen by the Swan sisters. Penny also meets a boy named Beau on the night before the sisters are supposed to start stealing bodies, and she takes it in her mind that she needs to set out to save Beau. So, the things I liked about this book. I liked that it was really atmospheric, and I really liked the twist at the end. I did predict the twist at the end, but I'm one of those people who doesn't get so mad that they can predict it. They just feel happy that they can predict it, because most of the time I cannot predict it. And honestly, the twist is what saved this book for me. This was going to be a 3-star read, but the last 100 pages moved this from a 3 to a 4-star because I really enjoyed the twist. And the other thing that I liked about this book is that it was set in the past and also the present. So you learned about the Swan sisters and whether or not they were actually witches in 1822, and then we're also in present day with Penny and Beau. And the things that I disliked about this book was mainly the writing. I just felt that this writing was just so descriptive, and I get so distracted by descriptive writing. And while this book was atmospheric and you felt like you were in Sparrow, Oregon, in this creepy, eerie town, there were some points where I just didn't feel the need for her to describe every single thing, because it just didn't make sense. Just a pretty average book for me. Then the twist happened, and I really just was pulled in. I think I will definitely reread this around Halloween time. It would be a great atmospheric read for Halloween if that's what you're looking for. The next book I read is Emily Giffin's All We Ever Wanted. And I gave this book 5 stars, and honestly, this is the best Emily Giffin book I think I've ever read. I loved her book Where We Belong, and this is the second book that I've loved by her. Most of her books are really superficial and deal with a lot of superficial issues, like cheating on your husband and not living a glamorous life or something. Like, a lot of her books are just not that way, and I find that I really like her books that hit a little bit closer to home and have a lot more relatable stories. This book really hit a deeper tone, and I was so excited that she delved into this because it's something that we deal with on a daily basis. This story follows 3 different perspectives: Tom, Lila, and Nina. Nina is married to a husband who just sold his company, and they are really, really rich. And she also has a son named Finch who attends a private school. Tom is the father of Lila. And he is just a single father who is worried about his daughter. He is a carpenter and just a blue-collar guy, and his daughter Lila goes to school with Finch at this private school. And the plot of the story is that a photo surfaces from supposedly Finch's Snapchat, where he has sent a photo of Lila half naked and drunk. And the whole plot revolves around that and how Nina copes with her son committing this crime, and how Tom copes with having the daughter who is the victim of this crime and Lila, who is the actual victim. And I think that this book was phenomenal. It touched on so many things, and I really fell in love with the character of Nina because she realized that you can love somebody, but you don't have to love the actions that they do. And you can think about how somebody's circumstances can allow them to commit things that you don't think that they would ever commit. And she learns throughout the story that her life is not as she sees it. I loved the inclusion of Snapchat because it's just one of those apps that you can send a photo and it seems like it goes away, but it teaches you that just because it's on social media doesn't mean it goes away forever. And just because it's on Snapchat doesn't mean it disappears in 5 or 10 seconds. So this was a great book. The next book I read was When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. This book follows Dimple Shaw, who has just graduated from high school and is excited to attend Stanford for the fall. And she is trying not to push her luck, but she really wants to attend this web development camp. But she knows that it's $1,000 and her parents most likely will not want to send her there. Until she finally brings it up, and they agree within minutes. And so she thinks that her parents finally understand her and they finally want what she wants instead of the IIH, which is the ideal Indian husband. Because her mother is always trying to set her up with Indian boys and get her married off, even though she's just at the ripe old age of 18. So she goes to this web development camp, and on the other end of things, a boy named Rishi Patel is told by his parents that he is going to be going to web development camp to meet Dimple Shaw, because her parents and his parents are great friends and think that they would be a perfect match. So he heads off to web development camp thinking that she wants the same as him. And hijinks and fun things ensue from there. And I gave this book 5 stars. This was the cutest book in the whole dang world. I was not expecting this book to be so cute. I honestly was expecting this book to be so bland and not that great and just okay and like 3 stars. And I was pleasantly surprised with this. I love Rishi. Rishi is literally the sweetest boy in the whole world, and he loves Dimple with all of his soul. And Dimple is a little stubborn, but she gets there in the end. And oh my gosh, this book is just so cute. And honestly, next to the Lara Jean trilogy, Dimple and Rishi are forever one of my OTPs. I love them so much, and this book was amazing. The next graphic novel that I read is Lumberjanes Volume 4, Out of Time. And I really like Lumberjanes. I love Lumberjanes. And while I did not give this 5 stars, I gave it 4 stars. It was great, but it wasn't excellent. And I really loved this one because there were so many funny one-liners in here. I'm trying to find them. And also I found out that apparently Joe comes out as trans in this one. I remember reading that scene and like kind of being confused, but I looked it up later and she is trans, and I think that that's so awesome. I love that there's representation in these graphic novels because I think young girls everywhere can read them and just realize that there are people like them, and I love that. Jen is in this one, and Jen is the camp counselor, and we all know that I love Jen the camp counselor, and she is one of the stars of this one, and I just, oh my gosh, I love her so much. So, yep. On to the next clips. Bye. Hey guys, it's Hannah Hart's Book 6, and today I'm going to be doing the second to last part of my wrap-up. So, here, I'm going to talk about them to you. This is actually the first book that I read in July, and it is The Bungalow Mystery by Carolyn Keene. It is the third book in the Nancy Drew series. This book series is super predictable, and it's kind of, at first I was reading them 4 stars, but I think this one just kind of sealed it that these are kind of like a 3-star book series, but I still want to keep reading them because I really like them, and I really like feelings I get while reading them. They're just really fun, and I think enjoyment wise it would be a 4, but actual like quality of the story is a 3, so I just kind of settle with like a 3 or 3.5 star rating, and I just really like these books. But yeah, 3 stars, predictable, likable, and I kind of just want to be Nancy Drew because she's just really cool and dresses like a really cute person. So the second to last book that I read this month is They Both Die at the End by Silvera. This book, I gave it 3 stars, and it was a journey. This book should have taken me 2 or 3 days to read, and it took me 7. And I thought about DNFing it at one point because I just didn't care. And I liked the characters, but I couldn't connect with them, and I didn't feel anything that they were feeling. And honestly, I thought that the way that they died was kind of stupid. The story is told in multiple perspectives, and the main perspectives are Mateo and Rufus, the boys that are dying today, and they are the 2 last friends. But the other characters, all their deaths seem like really plausible, but the way Mateo and Rufus die is just stupid. And spoiler alert, I didn't cry, like at all. And that's really bad because I cry at literally everything. This was just, it was okay. I don't think I gained anything in my life by reading it. Don't really think I'm going to pick up another Silvera book because honestly this book just felt like a waste of time. The ending of this story is just straight up abrupt. I read the last page of the ebook and I literally went to the physical book because I thought pages were missing. No, it just ended. And I really don't understand how it's hyped at all. I was not connected to the characters. I liked the story okay, but other than that, would not recommend to literally anyone. So yeah. Okay, on a happier note, the next book I rated 4 stars, and that was Lumberjanes Volume 5, Band Together, and this was just everything I ever needed. This was my first read for Booktuber, and it was just wonderful. I flippin' love Lumberjanes. I wish I could be a Lumberjane. That's one thing that I wish. I love every single character in these. This book made me love Ripley even more, which is a character that always, like, I thought she was fun, but this time I got to know her a little bit more because there's a little bit of a prequel story in this of how the girls met at camp and how Molly acquires her raccoon hat. So that was just really fun, and how Ripley's hair came to be how it is, and then it had to do with mermaids and merpeople and just April causing hijinks and the rest of the girls having to deal with those hijinks. So I just thought that this was really great. 4 stars. I'm so excited to continue on to Volume 6. The last book that I read in July is Yes, Please by Amy Poehler. That was the most awkward handling of this book. This book is super heavy because it has like photocopy pages, and I love this book so much. I did not expect to love this book, but I absolutely loved it. It was 5 stars. Like, I had this book for 3 years. 3 years exactly. And not once did I ever think to pick it up. And then for biannual bibliothon, one of the challenges was to read a book that's been on your TBR over a year. I read about 135 pages of this during the bibliothon, and I finished it yesterday on July 30th. And I just, like, this was amazing. Like, this was heartwarming. This was hilarious. There were things that she owned up to, and just the way she deals with emotions in this book. She deals with such serious topics with such an air of comedy, and you can tell that she is just a wonderful person. Like, I just think that Amy Poehler is amazing. I always thought she was hilarious, but she just seems like an overall generally good person. There's a whole chapter devoted to Parks and Rec, which is a show that she stars in as Leslie Knope, and I've never watched that show, and this book made it a need and not a want. So now I really want to binge watch Parks and Rec. I loved how she didn't talk about her divorce and exploit it for a book purposes. Like, she was able to write about things that have affected her in her life without talking about something that deals with another person's life. So I really liked that. And she has 2 kids, so I thought that was really classy of her. And yeah, 5 stars. Totally read this. I listened to it on audiobook through Hoopla, so if your library has Hoopla, totally listen to this. It's wonderful, and I'm so tired of holding it. So those are the books that I read in July. I hope you guys liked it, and see you guys later.